What's up, everybody? Welcome once again to Latin Splaining with Denise. My name is Denise Gonzalez. For those who do not know me, welcome to the people that are new. I see that I have SKC that's up from the crowd at Obsidians. Welcome to Latin Splaining. And all the people that have joined the Latin Splainer crowd. Thank you guys for supporting my platform. We're on the road for 500 subs. And I can say that this has been, 17 months that I've been uh, doing content on YouTube. And apparently, we're growing every day. So, to the people that are watching this now and also the ones that are catching the replay, I want to remind everybody to like this video, share, and also subscribe if you have not done so. And also, make sure that if you like this content, you share it with other people and come back with as many friends as you would like. Also, I want to thank everybody that listens to Latin Splaining overseas. Like I said, Latin Splaining is growing, and everyone that listens to the podcast and any other platform where you prefer to listen to your podcast, thank you very much, guys, for also supporting the Latin Splaining family. Today, we have a very controversial topic that we're going to touch on. And I brought a very dear friend of mine that also does amazing content. And that person is no other than the one, the infamous, the slayer of the cultist, Radical Latino.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. How about you, Rad? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to get into this. I'm pretty happy. We're dispounding some myths. I'm glad to do it on your channel, so I don't have to do it on mine.
So you don't get the hate.
No. Actually, I'm still gonna link it to your channel anyway.
Definitely.
I'll take a little piece of it and just just boom, here you go. If you guys want to hear the rest of it, there you go. If somebody does show up from Twitter, let them come in after we're done so we can have this discussion. You know what I
Jesus.
mean? So
We're gonna try to do something different today.
okay.
I'm gonna try my best because this type of topic gets very heated. So you guys know here in Latin Splaining, I don't allow over talking. If you over talking, I'm gonna warn you one time and then I'll boot you because the audience also needs to be respected, the platform as well, and they cannot understand when people over talk each other. So
Wait,
that's my own.
what was that?
No, when people over talk.
So you're being over talked. No, just like
Yeah.
I get it. I'm late.
Another
Okay.
thing I want to say before we start today's topic. Look, I get it. This is a sensitive topic, but give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. If you guys get too sensitive and this is triggering, just literally do not watch it because we're gonna get to the nitty gritty of this, and I will hate for people to feel some type of way. But like I said, we gotta get into it, and we're gonna see it from all perspectives. And you guys know that I like to keep it fair. So let's get this thing started. Let's start talking about this whole situation. As you guys know, Nuri Martinez. Nuri Martinez has been the face of this whole controversy, even though she's not the only person involved in it. But
She's being the face of racism. Call it what it is. Call it what it is.
I mean, I can't really blame people, right? Because she also earned this title, but it's not only Nuri Martinez the one that's being grilled for this. You guys have heard during the past few days that the LA council is on fire. A lot of people are protesting. A lot of people are like, we want these people out. We don't want these people in. But we're talking no other about Nuri Martinez, Jill Cedillo, Kevin De Leon, and Ron Herrera. I'm sorry. This four, well, three council members and a developer here. Was it a developer? Um, No, he is Kevin De Leon, Jill Cedillo, and Nury Martinez are the council members, and John Herrera is part of the development of LA. But these people have been in the front of controversy because of a meeting that they were holding where they make certain comments that were racist towards other people. Now, some of the things have been misunderstood. Some of the things has been put up on everyone, but we're going to listen first to the whole video in case people have not listened to it so that we can make an assessment of it. I'm going to share it real quick.
Are you gonna share the whole video, or is it gonna be four pieces?
No, I'm going to share the whole thing. You have the 4 pieces separate?
I know there's 4 videos. I think maybe
There's 4.
Okay, there is 4. So I only heard one part. So I'll just hear the whole thing now then.
There's 4 parts to it. They're all together, but there's 4 parts to it because most people have only heard part 1. But I want you guys to hear the whole thing. Give me one second, guys.
She looked like a Mexican. She looks like a Mexican Karen, by the way.
Oh my God! You had to go there, Rod.
Yeah,
you had to go there.
All the folks like with us going. He did call me. He wants to have breakfast with me.
What's taking him so long?
I haven't. I just said, hey, we need to talk.
You supported him from the.
All right, don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
So you'll start seeing him line up.
Isaac was the first. Whatever the kid's name is, I'm like, it's like the oddest thing. It's like black and brown on this float, and then there's this white guy with this little black kid who's misbehaved. Este niño has no. They're not even. They're not doing. The kid is bouncing off the effing walls on the float, practically tipping it over. There's nothing you can do to control him. I say Changuito. And I'm just like, oh my God. They're raising him like a little white kid, which I was like, this kid needs a beat down. Like, let me take him around the corner and then I'll bring him back.
Yeah.
¿Sí me entiendes? Ven para acá.
Pinch.
Yeah.
But yes, he's the fourth.
So anyways, getting back to redistricting.
Yeah, that's called Cape Town.
Yes.
I see a lot of little short, dark people.
Yeah, puro Oaxacan Koreans. Not even like Kevin, little ones.
I was like, no, I don't know where these people are from. I was like, I don't know what village they came out and got here, but.
And so they're wearing shoes.
So I get what we have to do, right? Just massage to create districts that benefit you all, right, and the future.
Yep.
But we got to figure out Mark's seat too.
Mm-hmm.
That benefits you 3.
Is if the African Americans look at this, now that he might or may not be suspended, I don't know what's going to happen. I think that he should be, but anyhow, if he goes away.
You mean resign, not suspended?
No,
you're right. I think there is a difference.
If I may,
if he resigns, hold on. If he resigns and the African Americans look at this as a hostile takeover because he's gone, we'll have to figure that shit out because politically they're going to come after.
Yeah, but can I say something right now? And this is what I call the ¿cómo se llama this guy? The movie, the Wizard of Oz effect.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by the Wizard of Oz effect is when you're at the side of the curtain, it's like this big voice. It sounds big. And it sounds like there's thousands of it. And then when you actually pull the curtain, is that you see the little Wizard of Oz. Yeah. You know what?
I've never watched the movie.
It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm. All right.
It's real simple. You got 100 people, right? 52 of them are Mexicanos. I feel pretty good about it. I feel pretty good about my chances of beating your ass.
25 are for black. 25 blacks are shouting. But they shout like there were 250. Yeah. When there's 100 of us, they're like, it sounds like
so,
10 of us.
But if somebody slides in, right, temporary or however you do it, right, that person has to support the 3 of you. Has to support the 3 of you. And Danny,
you know who wants to run for that seat?
Reggie.
No, Isidore.
I ain't gonna support that, Reggie. Reggie was over there with Karen.
Who was
After he was fucking sweating his ass off.
The one who will support us is Heather Hutt.
Yes.
I like Heather Hutt.
Yeah.
Heather,
So you guys basically heard that. What do you think about that, Rad? I want to get your thoughts first.
That was it.
That was it. Those 5 parts. That was the whole recordings that were put.
That was. Yo, ain't she from Cali?
Yeah. Yes.
I'm thinking she says something about, like, there's a word Mexicans say that's derogatory.
She said it at the beginning when she called, and I want to make that clear that I pulled that receipt because a lot of people don't understand that not all Latinos are from Mexico. So our words don't mean the same. For example, chango or changuito in Puerto Rico means someone that complains or whines a lot. But in Mexico, it is a diminutive that means monkey, or a very agile person.
Look. In Ecuador, it means a very good and very, yeah.
You see my
I'm a ching.
You're a changuito.
I'm a changuito as fuck, yo. No, but see, this is the thing. I don't know what take you're gonna take, but I'm gonna do this. There was nothing racist about that shit.
You don't think that was racist?
I do not see nothing she said to be racist whatsoever.
I differ.
Okay. Let me just give you my take on it. First of all, let's go with the whole changuito thing, right? Let's go with the whole changuito thing and all that other stuff. As a Latino, I saw it for what it is. She was talking about that kid acting out, jumping, around the place, off the walls, like a little, and then she said changuito, right? Any Latino knows with the ito at the end doesn't really mean something bad. It's like, it's affection. You know what I'm saying? That's one. Two, there's other words she could have said. She could have said like a mono. She could have said like a me, yeah, what Mexicans say. Come on now. So she could have easily said something racist, but no, she didn't. She just said that he was acting like an animal. That's all it was, and there was no discipline. And if she would have took care of it, she would have took him around and showed him some discipline. That's what she said, and I didn't see nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see nothing wrong with that.
But now that would be you.
Well, yeah, this is just my opinion. I didn't see nothing wrong with that. She could have easily went the racist route, but I didn't see nothing that she said racist. I think this thing is getting blown out of proportion because they're trying to take the Latino seat in LA and put it more African American. That's how I see it. I think this is just a political play. I think this is being blown out of proportion, and a lot of race hustlers and race baiters are using this situation just to point at Latino and the whole Latino community as, you see, I told y'all we was right. They were all a bunch of racists and all this other stuff. That's how I see it, because at a certain part of that conversation, she even talks about, oh yeah, the African American community, there's 25, but they sound like they're 250. She could have easily said something crazy about that. Nothing was said. So the only racist thing I heard about that whole thing, is her talking about that kid was acting white. That's it.
Well, I think
by the way, that's my
timer.
That's my timer. That's it. I'm getting canceled, by the way. No, let me stop. Go ahead.
I'm gonna be completely honest. Okay. I think that we can apply here the whole concept of with great power comes great responsibility. Being the council president, which is Nuri is the president of the council, especially in the city of LA, where that the racial tensions are super high, where people really don't get along, right? That people actually have even killed each other based on race. This is a reality. And already the temperature that's happening. I think that she should have been more aware of what she was saying. There's no way that she doesn't know that you know, the connotation of monkey and a black child it's
Yeah.
a race is a racist one. She does know this. Okay, let's not. That's the first thing I want to just put out there. She does know these things. If she was Puerto Rican, I would say, well, yeah, that's not racist because
Yeah.
Changuito in Puerto
But
Rico
she's
doesn't mean that.
Mexican. But
But
she's
she's
Mexican.
Mexican. She's
Yeah.
saying it
Okay.
from a
I see your
Mexican
point.
connotation. And let's keep it real. In Mexico, it does mean monkey. She could have picked, I don't know, acting like a salvaje or say any other thing. You know,
I
the amount, the plethora of words that she could have used to say that that kid was
I
misbehaving and
I
that kid was horrible. It was a menace. She could
that's
have called him an
that's
omen if she
that's the
wanted.
thing. Listen. I've been called Samuelito, mijito, and all this other stuff, and I see the ito like I see it differently. Maybe because majority of my I'm Caribbean. Maybe I don't know, but when I hear like Ramon said, I understand what Ramon is saying, but I've seen people be show love when they talking about mi negrito and stuff like that. So if you translate that mi negrita in Spanish for Latin folks, that's nothing. That's a term of endearment. If you translate that in English, that sounds wild crazy.
But that's because
That's
again,
what I'm saying.
we're in a different land. We're not and again, we're talking about Mexico. The
But
Mexican
okay,
culture is
I
not like
understand.
our
I
culture.
understand Mexican is not our culture, but which one would have been better, mi changuito or ese chango? Because context matters. She goes like,
But Chango, it doesn't matter. What matters is the person that says it, where you're
true,
from.
okay, okay,
That's
no, you're
really
right,
what matters. Because again, I agree with Roy Chess. Like I said, she could have said that he was acting like a savage.
true, true,
That would have been enough.
true.
But she did not wanted to use that word.
She
You
could
go
have
out of
used
your
salvaje. She
way.
could use salvaje, un animal. She could have said stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm like he was acting like an omen, even if she wanted to go there. But she shows specifically that word. She knows exactly what that means
Hmm.
because a lot of people have compared African Americans to apes in the past, and they do it so that they can diminish the appearance of human life.
Oh,
So
okay, I'm starting to see your point. I'm starting to see your point.
when people say those things, yeah, they have to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
Every country has a sentiment towards a comparison with something that would be very disrespectful, and you would not like someone that it's from another place trying to tell you or call you by that. It's kind of like if you call a Haitian a Bantu, that is disrespectful. But if you call a Bantu to somebody else, they're
Mm.
not gonna get offended.
Okay. Now, okay, you made your. You see, you didn't say this in our private conversation. You fucking asshole. You fucking
Look,
asshole. She's exposing me. No. Oh no. No.
look.
Okay, you made your point, and I'm gonna have to agree. I see what you're saying. I do see
Now,
what you're saying.
another thing I would say,
Because it really depends on your geographical location, and you're right, the same word means different things.
it's a different country.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, if,
different country.
obviously. And okay, now that you're the way you broke it down, okay, I see your point. I see. And
Another thing I
also,
would say,
Don, stop putting my last name on the shit. Yo, chill out. Don crazy putting Rodriguez. Chill.
look, another thing that I want to point out, I am surprised that people did not catch on the fact that she's also dissing white people. So this is not just
And
a black
Latinos,
issue.
and Latinos too.
She's dissing everyone
Yeah.
and
So why
indigenous,
black
black and
folks
white.
mad then? No, let me stop. Let me stop.
No,
Let me stop.
no,
Let me stop.
no.
Just
She
play.
literally said, so basically she's saying that white folks don't know how to conduct themselves in public, or that they don't know how to discipline their kids, or that their kids misbehave, or that their kids are savages, or their kids are monkeys. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, people really don't understand what we're talking about. This
Yeah.
woman literally used a race to classify the behavior of people. I'm like, this is so crazy.
Yeah. Now, first of all, shout out to Jose. He's a Rodriguez too. We were owned by the same Spaniards. Shout out to you. We were probably house slaves and shit. So shout out to you. Okay. See, I see your point. I don't think I don't think oh they're raising that kid white has a lot of weight, to be honest, because let's be honest, negativity towards white folks doesn't have that same hit or that same weight if you're talking about some other groups of people. For example, the black community. If you would have said something, one word will just erupt the whole black community. For white folks, you're gonna have to take a couple of more jabs at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, but at the same time, when people say that this was just a black issue, she talked about the Oaxacan and called them Koreans, and talk to them in a very
See,
derogatory way.
those that I felt more offended about what she talked about the darker Mexicans.
Yeah.
That's what I felt more offended about. And I thought, to be completely honest, because I haven't heard all the tapes until now, I thought that was the real thing for racism, but people are just pointing at the fact that she was talking about, oh, he's with the blacks and he called this kid a monkey. I'm like, yo, you guys are just one-siding this whole thing.
Yeah, I
Yo,
mean, we are used to not matter in conversations. I
yeah, of
think at this
course,
point, we should get used to the fact that our lives really don't matter that much to
of
people.
course, of course.
Before we continue, I do want to remind everyone there's 36 people watching, only 13 likes. Okay, so we need to get those likes up. As you come up, please hit that like button. Also, I want to remind everybody we're going to let people in a minute, but we're going to discuss this real quick and don't overtalk anybody. Now, back to what I was saying regarding this, because there's more parts of it. The first part is about the kid. We already established that she does assign, that she does assign behavior with race, and that white folks might not be as uh, disgusted by it, even though there was white people also protesting to have her removed.
Mhm. Yeah.
Now my thing is, I find it very disturbing that we as Latinos come to this country, right, and we diss on the American folks, but we want to be here sucking from the tit of the country.
Mm. Mm.
We don't like them gringos. We don't like these people. We don't like black
But
Americans. We
but
don't
yeah,
like
we benefit from them. Yeah.
but we're living amongst them. Then
Yeah.
if that's the case, let's go back to our respective countries. You gotta have respect for the people, because yes, I get it, there's a lot of things that are happening in our countries thanks to the American folks, but not the people on the ground. They're not the ones doing
Mm.
this to us. So why do we have to always go out of our way to do this type of stuff? And mind you, I'm saying we, but in reality, we know that it's a specific country and a specific demographic that's
Yeah.
doing this. And
Yeah.
it's always, and that's another thing I'm going to say before I move forward. I am so sick and tired of getting tagged and getting attacks from American folks. And I want American people to start understanding in 2022, towards the end of 2022, beginning of 2023, we're not going to continue to tolerate, and I want all Latinos to join me in this sentiment. We're not going to continue to tolerate ignorance. If you cannot differentiate among 34 different Latin countries and refer to the people that are doing stuff to you by their respective ethnicity, we cannot have a conversation. That's
Mm.
how we're going to act from
I'm
now
I'm
on.
I'm a talk like a ignorant American. Y'all all the same though. Y'all speak that Spanish shit. Y'all about waba shit. Y'all all the same. And scene.
Yeah. Yeah, I am so sick and tired of being lumped with people that I have no relation with. Now, I will place 20% of the blame on us. Why? Because when we say, it's people like myself say, we need to start making clear, thick lines that differentiate different countries from the rest of other Latin countries, we get called divisive. We get called all kinds of stuff and anti-Latino.
No.
And
But y'all
again,
speak that Spanish shit though. Y'all speak that Spanish shit. So y'all all the same.
look, again, we are going to start to denounce these things, and the best way to do it when someone calls you a Mexican or because somebody calls you whatever you are not, because we're all Mexican. I've been asked what part of Mexico is Puerto Rico. So again,
the Puerto Rican part of Mexico.
yeah, like I said, when people come to the table in bad faith, trying to lump us with all these people without knowing our cultures are completely different,
Yeah.
then you exit the conversation. As Latinos, we have to start doing this.
Yo,
okay, if you don't have no
Yeah.
respect for other people's culture, because it's an insult to tell
No,
a Puerto
it's
Rican or a
true.
Caribbean Latino, oh, you're anti-blackness shows. I'm like, yo, we're black people.
Yeah. Yo, Baby Rodriguez says the part that part mofos want to act like we all eat burritos.
Oh my God.
Facts.
Yeah, we're all taco eaters.
Exactly.
We
And
all
they don't know,
mariachis.
they don't know nothing about arroz con gandules and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, again, learn how to call people by their own ethnicity and stop lumping. All Latinos now act the same way.
Wait,
because
I like this. Hold on. Somebody said, which ethnic group is Martinez? The one that got enslaved. The Latino ethnic group. So it don't matter.
yeah, it's always,
It don't matter.
again,
Don't be ignorant. That's the stupidest thing you could ever say. It's like me saying, what ethnic group is Jones?
not only that, again, ethnicity has a very specific connotation, and the fact that this is the problem with folks. You don't want to be lumped, and I get this from white people, and I get this from black people. White people, you don't want to be lumped with Canadians, French, Russians. You don't want to be associated with those, but you associate all of us with Mexican. Black people don't want to be associated with Africans. They don't want to be associated with Jamaicans. They don't want to be associated with Haitians, but we're all Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
You get my point? And you don't have to be.
But Denise, you're speaking that Spanish shit though. That wabba wabba yabba 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 shit. They're all the same.
look, Royce says, objection, Your Honor. Y'all speak that Spanish thing, and y'all tend to look out for each other's Spanish.
Yeah, word. Y'all be over there speaking that naka shit.
You're all dancing la Macarena. No, I'm joking. But look, this is wild. You know, the way that people are addressing this stuff is wild, because if Nury Martinez would have said that in PR and would have talked about black and white people like that, she would have gotten the same issue. I want people to understand that. That only
Wait, really?
Look at the comment sections of this topic in the Puerto Rican circles. You're gonna see what
I'm seeing something different in the Dominican circles. In the Dominican circles, I'm dead serious. In the Dominican circles, I am seeing some pushback, but in the Dominican circles, they're like, "Hey, yo, if she said this in DR, like nobody would have batted an eye."
No,
you know
in PR, I'll send you a few of the posts so you can see the comment section. People are not liking what she's saying, like legit. And I'm like, I get it. I totally freaking get it. It's different for everyone. So again, learn how to.
I admit with Blood Moon, who associates all Latinos with Mexicans. A lot of Americans do. Think Ecuadorian, Peruvian, Guatemalan, Nicaraguans, and Honduras are lumped with Mexicans because of their mestizos look. Yeah, we got a native.
That's a look. That's one thing. But the minute you speak Spanish, or your last name, like mine, is Gonzalez, which is one of the most common, if not the most common, last name in Latin America, you're immediately Mexican. That's how it is.
Denise, say it with me, because y'all be speaking that
Spanish.
That maraca.
It is wild, man. It's so wild. I'm telling you, it's insane to me that people. And then when you tell them these things, they get triggered. They're like, "Oh, everyone knows all the differences in Latin countries." I'm like, then why can't you just make that? Why is it that people call Russia Russia, but they don't call Russians Europeans?
Oh, yep. Denise.
I'm just stating facts. How is it
Yo.
that you can't call Russians Europeans? You don't call them Europeans because you actually can differentiate that because it happens to be on CNN. But because our countries
Yo.
don't make it to CNN, you don't know who we are. Come on. Come on. Every time I talk to an American person out here, they only know PR because of Hurricane Maria. Okay, and that's the reference that they use, and it's because that made it to CNN. So that's who's giving you your education. And I'm not saying that people have to read or care. What I'm saying is when somebody like Nuri and all these people do something, refer to them as their group. We're not all encompassing that. Europeans are not all bombarding Ukraine. Let's keep it real. Let's just keep it how it is. So moving from that. Now, there's a second aspect of this that's more political. I don't know if you noticed, Radical, when they were talking about the amount of seats and the support that they need to get.
Yeah.
And that part, it caught my attention because I've been telling our brothers and sisters of the African American sector that this is a monopoly board. America, it's literally a monopoly board, and we all got to be our best and as competent as we can in order to win more and amass more wealth and move forward. And a lot of pushback comes from people when we mention to them that you gotta be competent, that the country is always going to be against you because there's systems in place for people to win or lose. And if you don't play the game, you will always lose.
Yep.
So
especially when we be talking that you know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I see that Roysha says, and this is a good point that I want to highlight. He says, Americans go by race, not ethnicity. So Russians are white. Yeah, I understand that, but they refer them as Russians. And another thing that I would say, not all Latinos. Name me a Mexican that looks like me. When you find that Mexican, then I'll give.
I got you right now. The closest one, and I swear to God, this is not just trying to be fucking around. I swear to God, I like to fuck around. The closest one
with my hair texture.
Then okay, the closest one I was gonna say is Selena. The closest one. I was gonna say Selena, but with your hair texture, después. Are we talking about Mexican women that is well known, or Mexican women who do have your texture here but are just regular women?
But just look at the fact that you have to go through all of these questions in order to find someone like that. You get my point? So we do not look alike. So our ethnic group is not the same. We're not the same. Let's keep it real. And I think if people want to keep doing this whole thing, like, I'm not saying that you got to hate people that are different than you. How do we get to that point? Oh, you're so divisive. No, I'm not divisive. I'm just simply stating facts. You're a different country. I'm a different country. Oh, we speak the same language. We speak the same dialect. But we even have African words in our dialect.
Yeah.
We have Taino words in our dialect. They don't. Chango is the best example. It means one thing over here and another thing over there. So again,
that's true.
So when people say these things, I don't look like a typical Mexican. Mexican people here don't recognize me as Latina. They don't. And as I dare anyone to tell me different, I will put a GoPro on my forehead with an elastic band and go to Plaza Mexico, that's over there in East LA, and just walk among them and start asking them, hi, how are you? And what they think I am. And they'll tell you, oh, you're a Black person. That's what they have told me my whole life here. And I've been here for a whole decade. So again, if they know, then how come you can't see that? I don't look neither indigenous, I don't look white, and I don't look completely Black. I look mixed. My composition or admixture based on my parents is mostly black. So of course that's why I consider myself an Afro Latina, aside from my, you know, my body shape and the texture of my hair and other features that I have. I'm a little less melanated, but the majority of my family is completely melanated. I just happen to be on the light side. That's something I can't control. So to the people that are like, oh, like, you know, you're not black. Sorry, honey, I can't control how dark I came out. Anyway, going back to what we were saying, I don't know if you noticed that this is a whole power structure that they're trying to fight for in the council. When they were talking about, we need to find someone that, you know, uh, supports you three, right? And Reggie, I don't like Reggie. You know, neither Reggie supports Karen.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys heard that, or if you guys want me to play this again. But I don't know if you noticed that they're like measuring the amount of people based on the amount of seats that they should have in the support based on the population of Los Angeles.
No, that's what they're doing, and that's what I think was the last year while this thing was recorded last year. That's what they were fighting for. They were fighting for certain seats. I think the Latino sector and the Black sector were fighting for representation of the seats. And again, before you get into your point, again, I believe that this is a whole political move in order to get certain seats.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? This is a political play. But continue.
so basically, again, like I said to people, I love how some people will get upset at the fact that, you know, there's a lot of support for the Latinos, but let's keep it real. Black people are fleeing California first because the policies have gotten too liberal, and Black people are walking more towards back to conservative views. I don't know if you guys have read The Culture, but they're going back to their conservative ways. They realize, hey, we went too much into liberalism, and this is not working, and they're going back to being more conservative. And California keeps on going crazier and crazier with Hollywood in place, and a lot of people are leaving. Also,
to be fair, I'm sorry to cut you off. To be fair, that is one of the reasons why I am somewhat going conservative myself. I'm tired of the political atmosphere of the left, and I think the left has gotten very toxic, gotten very toxic to its own detriment. And I think that conservatism is actually protecting and keeping certain aspects of it. I'm gonna just say normal. I'll just say that, just keeping it normal. That's the reason why I'm not leaning more. I'm actually pretty much kind of all the way there conservative.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. I think I am, to be honest with you. I have many liberal views with certain things, but I'm more on the conservative. No, when I mean liberal is like I believe there are certain liberties. You can't be on two polarities because it doesn't work. You gotta be balanced. I'm more of a moderate person when it comes to that.
No, you're right. I think that to be completely honest, I think that being too one way will get you just stuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're gonna go back to the same problem because if we're too conservative, one is a result of the other. Conservative people are the direct result of liberalism, extreme liberalism, and people that are extreme conservative create liberals.
Yeah, and my thing, and it's unfair for me to say, you know, oh, I'm conservative, and it's unfair because, to be completely honest, like, how can was that not god damn it, libertarian, being libertarian. To me that is more of an attractive way to go than being just straight up conservative. You know what I mean? I don't want no government interference. I want to take care of what I got to take care of on my own, but also I want more freedom. Freedom of. I want the government to be as small as possible. You know what I mean? So,
but that's not where we're heading, though.
that's the thing. You're right. That's not where we're heading. But continue. Go ahead.
So one thing I would say is that we got to take into consideration what I've been saying to my African American Latin explainers. Look, I get all the things that we've been talking about. However, how many are running for council members today? How many Black folks are running for council members? We want to complain about the treatment that Black people get in this state, and granted, they get shit treatment. I've seen it myself, and I can attest.
You sounding like a robot.
100%.
You sounding like a robot. You sounding like a robot.
Really? Can you hear me better now?
No, you sounding like a robot still.
Is it better now?
No, is it better now? Saying it like that is not gonna fix it.
Is it better now?
A little bit. It's a little bit.
Oh, come on.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3, testing.
Okay.
Testing.
You good. You good.
Better?
You good. Yeah.
So yeah, I understand that. Yeah, Black folks have gotten the shit treatment here. They still get it. They get dismissed by a lot of people, and they get treated like crap. That is the truth. I can attest to it. I've seen it with myself. It's been a decade that I've been seeing the harassment they lived through, the abuses they lived. I've seen it. Okay, it's too much. My thing is, when are they going to run for office? Because you can't complain and not do anything.
Facts.
And one thing I keep saying to brothers and sisters of the African American community, it's time for you guys to start running. The ones that actually care, not the ones that are like sellouts and don't care about certain topics and certain things that are happening on the ground. It's time for you guys to start running for stuff. Same applies for the indigenous Mexicans. I rarely see those running for anything whatsoever. They're always doing gardening jobs or painting jobs or handyman jobs. They're never running for office.
Facts.
And then they complain because let's keep it real. Mexico, if for the people that also hates when I always bring this up, there's a reason why AMLO, the Mexican president, apologized to the indigenous population in Mexico, because they get this treatment in Mexico. So again, why is it that we know that Mexicans that assume that they're more into the European phenotype or admixture or whatever you want to call it? Why is it that the indigenous people still want to act like they don't have any power, they cannot obtain any power? When are we going to start seeing more indigenous Latinos running for office and advocating for their people? Because let's keep it real, there's a lot of them out here. A lot. That is the whole concept of being Chicano, of being brown, is because of that. You're indigenous and you don't fit with your own people because they don't treat you the same. They don't see you the same.
Facts.
So you get my point? That's something that it's so weird when we see these things from people. I wanna ask the before I continue, sorry to interrupt this. I want to ask the moderators to, we're talking about grown-up topics here, like the people that just want to come with ignorant comments and all this stuff. Please block them. Don't time them out. They're blocked. Play stupid games, play stupid prices. Okay, so
who's coming with ignorant? We're not doing none of that. Like, come on.
No, we're not. This is Latin explaining, and here we don't play. There's no second chances here. This is a dictatorship in this channel. Okay, so
like our countries. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So again, stupid comment blocked. Okay, thank you, moderators. So anyway, going back to what we were saying, another thing that I want to address before we let people in, the fact with Attorney General Gascon. Attorney General Gascon has done a horrendous job, and I have yet to meet any Californian that loves the job that he's doing, whereas they're Black, Latino, or white. No one likes what the guy is doing. He released 17,000 violent criminals into our streets, and we know already how that's going. Okay, so again, when they're saying, "Oh, he's with the blacks," that's when I said, "Yeah, she was being racist." Why? Because you're basically talking about the fact that the attorney general is advocating for black people as if brown people don't commit crimes out here. Okay, let's
Yeah,
keep it real. The majority, if you go to the statistics, the majority of people committing crimes out here and getting even killed by LAPD is Latinos. So yes, we are committing crimes out here. So why do we have to do these things and say all this stuff just for the sake of winning power? Fight for power, but you don't have to do these things. And then let's keep it real. Everyone is racist. When people try to tell me otherwise, I give them the side eye because they're being disingenuous.
facts.
Okay, let's put that out.
Everyone's racist, especially at night. Everyone's racist.
Everyone is racist. You feel some type of way towards a specific race, justified or not. Everyone does. Okay, and that's not a cop out. That is reality. Everyone
Well,
is
since
racist.
we're being on, I'm just playing. Go ahead.
My thing is, these people just got caught, and that is why they are getting the treatment that they're getting. That is the whole thing. Because I want to show you guys. This was Nuri Martinez during 2020.
Let me see.
You know,
Today, we introduced a motion to cut funding of the LAPD as a rest of the properties in the wake of the murder of George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter. Call that we will support the end of racism. This is okay. I don't think cutting funding would do anything, but okay. On this Juneteenth, the world has been I don't think awoken is a word. Awoken to the fact that Black Americans still face racism, discrimination. We can okay. Well, all right. Can I play devil's advocate? Can I play
yeah.
devil's advocate?
Go ahead. Go
Okay.
ahead.
All right. Did she write this or did her assistant write this? Like for real,
Yeah.
Denise.
Okay.
Like
Hold on.
for real. Let's be honest here. Oh my God.
No. Oh my God. It says Nuri Martinez. She's responsible for what is written there. Okay. And if that isn't enough, I want people to know that Nuri Martinez.
It is a word. Awoken is a word. Oh, okay.
I've
Sorry.
never heard that. But
Yeah.
one thing I would say is that she was lying because during her the budget of the LAPD under Nuri Martinez actually grew.
Oh,
It
so
did
she
not
lied.
diminish. So yeah,
Oh,
so
so
this
she
is all
lied.
lip service. And I want people to understand. I've been talking about the whole Democratic platform, the Democrats or Democrats, like some people call them. And these people only do lip service, and that is a
Yeah.
reality. Okay, they tell you one thing, they do another different thing.
Exactly. Oh, by the way, awaken is a word. That's what I thought. Awoken is not a word.
Yeah, she doesn't even know how to speak.
Yeah, come on. I'm over here like, God damn it. No, but no, you're right. It is all just lip service and stuff.
Yeah, it is. And
No, you're
if you
right.
guys, I'm gonna I'm sure, is it showing
The what?
that when Nuri Martinez joined the
Yeah,
city
it says
council.
LAPD budget growth under Nury Martinez. When Nury Martinez joined the city council, LAPD's total spending was 2.25 billion. You could have gave me that. This year it's 3.2 billion. Wait a minute. The federal funds goes to city council for this, right?
Yeah, they have to approve it.
Oh, okay. So once they approve it, that means you have to show how you're spending that money, and that's where the mass incarceration comes in. Okay. Is the funding of the city council approving for the police? It's growth over 670 million from when Nuri took office to over 54% increase in the funding of an agency. Hunt,
That
stalks, and
hunts.
kills bashes the city's black residents. God damn.
So you already know what's up, and I want people to understand. I don't have a problem when people talk about this whole thing about like the police and whatever. But if you're gonna promise people this stuff and you're gonna talk about the LAPD and cutting funding, then just make it a reality, or just stay quiet, man. Just stay quiet.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand people got to show support, but if you are real about your real support, you should have took that funding and put into some social programs. Let's be completely honest. The reason why some of these communities are the way it is, the Black community is messed up, the Latino community is messed up, because these kids don't have no outlet. You know what I'm saying? These kids have nowhere to go to just, you know how you got to let your dog out to so they could just express themselves or whatever the case is, like extort some energy. These kids have a bunch of energy pent up. So when you're bored, that hey, let's go do something crazy. I don't know, rob a gas station or something. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just have some outlets for these kids. By the way, give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Yeah. So definitely, when we see these things about, oh, like Nuri is doing that, it's I think is the, and I'm gonna create this term. Nuri Martinez has done, I would say, soft racist comments and soft racist actions. But when you add them all together, she has done cumulative racism towards Black and white people. And that is a reality. And why is that a problem? Because a lot of people are like, well, I mean, everyone's racist, so what's the problem? Nobody cares. Look, I'm going to tell you something. If this was a person that was a business owner, or if this was a lawyer, or if this person was anything else, we should not care. But when you are advocating for where funds are allocated in the city, when you are the one in charge of such a powerful position, you have to be as unbiased at your job, not in
Okay,
your
I'm back.
social life. Okay. Check the chat, Radical, the private chat.
Okay.
As unbiased with your life at work as possible. And Nuri is not. Cadillo is not. All these people are not. That is the problem that we're having with these people. That they're not doing their job because they're letting their personal views interfere with who they are. And they did it on taxpayers' dime. Let's just keep it real. What do you think about that, Rod?
I'm eating some chocolate.
Oh my God.
Wait, give me. I agree.
So you think that she has
I
done
think I
cumulative
think
racism?
I think what she has committed, as I swallow my chocolate, I think she has committed political fraud to the people, because she's saying one thing and her actions are saying something else. You should not be out here advocating for a certain avenue, for a certain group of people who is part of that community that voted you in, and doing something completely different. Let's be completely honest. Them people in California, Black folks are not the only ones getting, abused by the police. Latinos are doing the same thing as well. Latinos are getting abused by the police. And now this is the thing that I've always talked about. Latinos are always overlooked when it comes to their abuse. We have the same abuse, the same exact thing happens to us, but it gets swept under the rug. We have our George Floyds. You know what I'm saying? They're called Jorge Gonzalez Floyds, right? But the thing is that our Jorge Floyds, right, are swept under the rug because he's a Latino. It is what it is. I even proven it. You know what I'm saying? These things don't make the news. These things don't make morning, evening TV. You know what I mean? And we
Yeah.
also have to be very, very cognizant. The media has a lot to play with it too. The media has a lot to do and play with the racial tensions that actually happens. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, when you're constantly being told, or not even being told, being driven as a the police are against you, the police are against you, the police are against you, the police are against you. Guess what? You're gonna start seeing the police. You know what I'm saying? Guess what? You start seeing yourself as.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not saying that white supremacy isn't real. I'm not saying that racism isn't real, but there's a certain point. There's a certain point where you're like, okay, I gotta push back and look it from the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Denise, you could do your thing. So it's to a certain point. You know what I'm saying? So many questions I have for Nuri and Radical. I don't know what you could ask the questions now. SKC, you could definitely ask it
Yeah,
now.
we're gonna let. Do you have anything else to add, Rob, before we let people in so we can discuss this topic with them?
To you, the only thing I got to add, and let me rant for a second. Usually I see this. I saw this with American Cholo. I also saw this when American Cholo started going at that music video. Whenever Latinos want their voice heard, it's like, hey, don't forget you guys are racist too. Like that. First of all, one that has nothing to do with nothing being talked about, right? And second of all, it feels like a gaslighting type of tactic where it seems like only black people are the ones that are victimized and nobody else. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying this is the black community at fault. I'm saying is the people perpetuating that type of ideology and type of talking point when it comes to when Latinos want their voice heard. You know, a lot of times first of all, our history is not even talked about in schools. Let's be completely honest. At least black folks got, 1 month that their history is being talked about. And even though it's watched down history, y'all still getting talked about. Latino, Hispanic Heritage Month, I don't even know if our history is being talked about in school. And if it is, who's giving this type of history?
I highly doubt that.
You know
I highly doubt that because look at what happened Puerto Ricans have been in New York since the early 1900s, and their presence was only recognized by the Department of Education in New York in 2016. So I can guarantee you that people do not freaking know who we are.
Yeah.
They don't.
And the thing is that I say that, first of all, it comes from the home that we have to do our thing. You know what I mean? We have to educate our own kids, but at least have our representation in schools, have our representation in these places where a kid like me who was growing up only learned 90% of white history and 10% of black history. And I'm like, where the hell are Latinos? And then the teacher would be like, well, Latinos didn't do anything. And come to find out, we actually did way more than we're being given credit for.
Yeah,
you know
I remember when I was telling you on a stream and other African American brothers and sisters, I was like, look, we have fought in every one of this country's wars. Every single one. There's been Latinos fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
And people don't know that. People will fight you to deny that we have done that, but we have. So it's kind of like what I said. This has always been a monopoly board, and you gotta understand that the cheap shots are going to come. And how do you meet those cheap shots? Mm-hmm. Create some of your own.
For Roy Chess, he says again, FBA is not an ethnicity. Technically, it is an ethnicity. Black American is an ethnicity.
No. African American is one thing. Sorry. FBA is a group. It's a
hashtag. You're right. It's a hashtag. But what I'm saying is, Black American is his own ethnicity. So it technically is. Yeah.
Because Black Americans are not as pure as a Nigerian or a Ghanaian would be.
Exactly.
Let's just keep it real.
Exactly. You could start bringing people up now if you want.
So I'm gonna put the link in the chat. There's certain rules. Again, you guys know that there's certain rules that we're gonna follow. Okay, we're not going to overtalk people. I'm not going to warn you. You only have one chance. Okay, if you overtalk people, I will boot you. Okay, because I don't like that, and the public deserves to be able to hear other people. I don't like that. Another thing is no long-winded things. Let's keep the conversation fluid. Everyone has 60 seconds to express their point, so try to be very brief, and then other people will respond. 60 seconds each. Okay, so whoever wants to come up, maybe me and Radical don't know what we're talking about. Maybe we're just making this up. Maybe we're just trying to defend Latinos, or maybe we're just trying to stir up some stuff. But if you want to come up here and discuss with us this topic, do you think Nuri Martinez is racist? Do you think that she should have been booted? She should have resigned like she did? Do you think that this was blown out of proportion? Let us know up here. Bring up your points. Maybe we're missing something.
Yeah, let me say one thing before we take a little intermission, because I know you do the intermission, right?
Yeah.
Let me just say something real quick. Let's be real and have a real conversation. Let's not act like we're all angels here, because we're not. We're humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's be 100% honest. Put a hot mic on these Asian politicians, black politicians, and white politicians. You will probably hear the same or even worse.
Yeah, of course.
So
that's what I said. Everyone's playing. Yeah,
exactly. Let's cut the bullshit. Okay, please. Let's cut the bullshit, and let's not pretend like it only happens to Latinos are the only ones coming up. No, it will literally happen to everybody.
Yeah, and then another thing, and one thing I want to add, because I hear this from the African American community often when they say, "Oh no, we don't do these things." Yo, why do you think then? Because a lot of them say that Obama didn't do anything for them. Look, it is true. Obama didn't do a lot of things for a lot of people, but why do you think he deported so many Latinos back to their countries? And why do you think that was for? For who? Who are Latinos direct competition to? So if you tell me that your politicians don't do the same thing that our politicians do and white politicians do, you are out of your freaking mind. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh my God, guys, you guys know I take a few minutes in intermission before I let people in. It's gonna be a 3-minute intermission. So get your snacks ready. Get your drinks ready. The conversation is going to start. But before it starts, I want to remind everybody to follow me on Instagram, Denise.Gonzalez.Villegas1, so that you can keep up with me and everything I do. And sometimes the stuff that happens in Latin America, the United States, and the Latin diaspora, because sometimes I don't have a time to make all those videos regarding those topics. So make sure that you support me and follow me on Instagram, and you can interact with me on a day-to-day basis. Also, like, subscribe, and donate to support the channel. Remember that, if you don't, times are hard, and if you don't have enough to donate, then at least like the video, because it doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me grow my platform. With that being said, guys, we're going to take a few minutes. Right now here in LA, it's 2:46. I will be back at 2:49 with the panel that is going to start, and it's going to be hot. So make sure that you stay tuned.
Baby, let me tell you something. I've been checking you out. Baby, you caught my eye. I wanna see where this goes. Want you to be my wife. Baby, it's something special, more perfect than a diamond. Got the body of a wine glass. I granted you permission, yeah, I give you the hard pass. Let's not let all of this time pass. I want you here forever, on heaven, earth, beyond that. I like you, I like to see where we can go beyond here. And if you feel that way too, let's go fly away and see where we live. Baby, I would like to get to know you. Baby, I would like to see if you feeling this way too. I've traveled the road and I've never seen quite a smile, never seen such a girl as beautiful as you are tonight. Baby, I would like to get to know you. Time is precious. precious. That's why I can't waste none of it. You're my prescription. Make me your default, I'll forget. Baby, just listen. I'm finna wrap it up real quick. Get full of gifts like a present. I call that Saint Nick. If you choose me and make me your boo, I'll stay beside you. Hope you fight all your obstacles. I'll always treat you, make you feel everything's possible. I'll always love you and trust you. Oh, baby, you see me through all my flaws and negative vibrations. That's why I'm digging you, baby. Tell me what you wanna do. Baby, I would, baby, I would like to get to know you. Baby, I would, baby, I would like to see if you feeling this way. So I've traveled the world and I've never seen quite a smile. Never seen such a girl as beautiful as you are tonight. Baby, I would like to get to know you. Baby, I would like to get to know you. Baby, I would like to see if you feeling this way. So I've traveled the world and I've never seen quite a smile. Never seen such a girl as beautiful as you are tonight. Baby, I would like to get to know you. I like you, I'd like to see where we can go beyond here. And if you feel that way too, let's go fly away and see where we land.
And we are back. We are back, people. Now, before I let the panelists in, I want to remind everyone that the views and the statements of the guests do not necessarily represent those of the channel and are those of the other panel members, as some comments may be offensive to select groups of people. Also, I want to remind everyone that's coming up that by calling into the live show, you waive your right to the use of your image and likeness for the purposes of this show. Without any further ado, I want to welcome a new Latin explainer, SKC, and Will M. How are you guys?
Hey, what's going on?
Nothing much. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. Fine. I was trying to make sure that the other person's sound was working right.
Oh, okay. So
you guys hear me?
Go ahead, Will.
Sorry, I was just making sure you guys could hear me all right.
Yeah, we can hear you all right. So, SKC, you said you had a few questions for Radical Latino. What were those questions?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of the stuff I actually agree with him about, but well, I'll start with the point of when he at the very end where he was stating that, let's just be honest, a hot mic would hit a lot of people and people would be shown as making all sorts of racist remarks. I mean, that's spot on. And for some reason, Black people and other people in America, they just don't want to have that conversation. It's like Black people, especially within blue politics, they play the race card in every situation possible for power. And at the same time, they're some of the most racist people in the United States. It is what it is.
Yeah. So what question do you have for Radical Latino?
Concerning when he was saying the thought about I guess people in California and how kids just need activities to be involved in, and that's one of the problems of why they are, I guess, having these issues with crime and the police and so forth. Well, Radical, wouldn't you say that more so the root of that problem would have more to do with not just boredom, but broken family structure?
Yeah, I think there's a combination of it. I just equated that to the funds that Miss Martinez should have used. I don't think I don't think those funds will be given to like broken families and will be fixed out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But I thought I just used that as an example, saying that hey, maybe she could have used those funds and opened up some neighborhood programs around the area. For example, I remember me growing up. There was a girl. She used to be real nasty in paint. She used to paint and draw real nasty, anime, anything. And a couple of people around the block, they used to ask her for some like professional work. You know what I mean? Give her $25 or whatever the case is. If she would have had an outlet, she would have at least perfected it a little bit more if there was a program around the area whatsoever. So that's what I was referring to. But yeah, it's a combination of things. I believe families would do play a big part in it. And also your environment plays a big part in it, and the people that you surround yourself around. That's what I'm gonna say.
So does that respond to your question, SKC?
Yeah, and I don't want to hog anything, so I'll let the mic get passed around.
Okay, Will M, what are your thoughts on today's topic?
Um, there's a lot of thoughts. I know it's like a complicated topic. Because America, in my opinion, it's very young, and like a lot of things that we're talking about and problems, we're talking about, like, like world cultures, and for instance, like China has existed for as a nation for like way longer, so they don't really have the types of questions that we're asking, I guess. And like racism, for instance, doesn't really come up in their vocabulary because it's so much a part of their identity that it doesn't make any, like, that's always a part of who they are. And I guess my question to y'all, just in general, would just kind of be like, what culturally, what are you, if you're not like just trying to take up for Latin people, which you have every right to, like, do you want a culture in America? Do you want to be considered American? Do you want everybody to be multicultural and together? Or do you think that, like, we need distinctions where people want those distinctions?
Well, me personally, I don't know the rest of the panel. I'm going to let everyone answer at their own time. But personally, I believe if we come to this country, we got to assimilate to it. And that's everyone included. I've spoken about this as a Puerto Rican. We've been American citizens for 105 years now. And we've been the U.S. colony since 1898. So if we come to this country, we got to assimilate or go back home. And I've been preaching that to Latinos for a long time. If you come here, you got to assimilate to the Americana or go back to your country. And it's the same thing for Black folks. It's time to assimilate to the Americana or go back into segregation. That's my personal belief, because oftentimes we try to do this tribalism. And how long are we going to do this without realizing that it doesn't work? Okay, we got to assimilate to the system that we live under, unless we're willing to go to war and restart again to our liking. And that is if we win. We lost the war. Caucasians won, and this is their system. But that's what I believe. Now, I don't know the rest of the panels. I'm going to let Radical, SKC, and then Kevin answer what they think about what Will M just asked.
Yeah, I personally I think that like I'm gonna just piggyback what Denise said. I agree with what she just said. We need to assimilate. Now we have to understand that United States Latinos, we have to be honest, the first to second generation, we are very different. Not only the way we view the world, but the way we act within the world. We are very different from our parents' home, bloodline. You know what I mean? So there are going to be very staunch, big differences when it comes to that. But at the end of the day, we do have to assimilate. And actually, I preach build a security, economical safety net for them people who do want to travel and come over here, so they can have something to fall back on, and it won't take so long for them to get up on their feet. You know what I'm saying? Economic empowerment within our communities. I think that is a good start.
Now, SKC, what do you think about what Will M just asked?
I mean, I agree with what you were stating earlier. In connection with that everybody has to assimilate at some point, because without assimilating, you're always going to have these issues of, people playing these racism games and all of that, and you can't move forward. In fact, you're going to have a lot of regression, like what we're seeing now. Instead of handling things that are much more important, people are going back into, like, it's, I don't know, the 1950s and Jim Crow is around and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think people need to make up their minds and see what they want to do. As for what you were saying so far as people within the more of the Latin communities, if they don't want to assimilate, then they can go home. I would say, for speaking for Black people, hey, I mean, if you don't want to assimilate, go somewhere else.
Yeah, it's really that simple. Now, Kevin, keep it brief, please, because we have a lot of questions regarding this. But what do you think about what Will M just asked?
About assimilation? The native-born Black people are already assimilated. We're good. That statement would be for, as far as going back to where you came from, if you don't like it, that would be for Black immigrants. Native-born Black Americans, that go all the way back to like the 1800s, or not the 1800s, the 1600s, and the history of enslavement. The assimilation is done. We don't have any place else to go, so we can't leave. So that's a statement that nobody really should be saying. Now, if you want to say that to Black immigrants, that's fine.
Yeah.
But
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just going to say that was I wasn't directing that towards like African Americans. That's more towards like the newer wave of immigrants, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. But I mean, I understand the point. But I mean, that's what I'm saying. We have a huge population of Black people who literally have a history, a 400+ year history. I don't have anywhere else to go except the United States. But now, if you're from Nigeria and you just got here 20 years ago, yeah, if you don't like it, you can go back.
So it's okay. This is my thing when people see assimilation as something that other people have to do, but not themselves. Because I have the same pushback from certain pockets of Latinos. Why, if you guys have assimilated to the Americana, why do we still have people referring to you guys as African American, and why you guys identify as African Americans and you refer yourselves as Black people and not American? Because when you ask a random Black person in this country, they either tell you they are Black, or they either tell you they're ADOS or FBA or African American. They never tell you they're American. That's only reserved. It seems to be only reserved for white folks. So if you're assimilated, if your mind is really assimilated, and I want everyone to answer this question, if you're really assimilated, then why is it that everyone wants to make a racial distinction that you are a group of in the Americana? You're not the full Americana. Because the way I see it, when Black folks travel overseas and they come from America, people are not going to make that distinction that you're a Black person. They will tell you and ask you if you're American. That's what they will call you, American, period. In my island, you're a gringo, just as a white gringo. You don't stop being a gringo or just because you're a Black person. You're, at the end of the day, you're American. So why is it that there's a living disdain for the American flag? There is an African American flag. There is African American movements. Why these things are in place if African Americans claim that they are completely assimilated into the Americana? I want Rad, SKC, Kevin, and then Will M to answer. Rad, you go first.
You awake, brother?
They got him. Okay, so SKC, while Rad get his stuff.
I'm so sorry. I'm back. What happened? It's my turn to talk?
Yeah, it's your turn to like I asked, why is it that we have so many things in place? African Americans say that only the immigrant people and Latinos and other groups have to assimilate, and they're fully assimilated. And if we go by that premise, why do we have Black culture, the African American name, ADOS, FBA? Why do we have a Black Americans flag? Why do we have all these things in place if African Americans are fully assimilated?
I think is because, and I think you bring up a good point. It somewhat shows the contradiction of it. You're supposed to be American, and that's what you're saying. Why have distinctions on it, right? It does show the contradiction, but also I do see it as a way that they Black Americans are trying to define themselves here in America as what they are, with a unique culture and a unique lineage, but at the same time, y'all Americans, so everything good and bad, y'all gotta eat that, if that's what that's what you're saying. So I believe that the people need to stop the contradiction and just say what you is. Yeah, American. Okay, don't do the distinction. You're American. You know what I'm saying? Because you made a great point. Once you go out of here, they're not gonna see you as, oh, are you Black American? Are you ADOS? No, they're just gonna be like, yeah, you're American. Your passport is still blue.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Now, I want to answer to what Puerto Rican says. She says, I think that's really backwards, though. They've been here, so why do they need to assimilate? Well, look, this is the thing, Puerto Rican. They have been here, but that doesn't mean that they're assimilated. They still haven't let go. For people, and I want people to understand, I am an immigrant as well, and Puerto Ricans are nothing assimilated, even though we've been part of this country for 100 and something years. We're nothing close to being assimilated. We're the most de-assimilated people in the world. If you don't believe me, go to all freaking flags that we and we put our flag everywhere. We're not assimilated at all. So, with that being said, you got to understand that there's not two Americas. And I think a lot of immigrants like myself, we don't understand that until we actually start looking into it and accepting our contribution and our part.
Exactly, because part of assimilation, it's not to fight back. It's to be like, okay, this is my history. It is what it is. So we're being and moving as one collective unit.
Yeah, that's how a country. That's how a country grows. Look at what Ramon is saying, and he's a fellow Boricua like myself. He's like, I have adapted to living in the U.S., but assimilation is forgetting who I am. I will remain Puerto Rican. Period. And I understand that.
And that's the thing. Like, people have to move as a unit. So that means if Black Americans have assimilated, truthfully speaking, that means that slavery talk needs to end. All that other, Tulsa, Oklahoma was the thing. That all of that needs to end, and there needs to be a radical change within the Black American community if we are talking about true simulation. And there shouldn't be no other RGB flags or anything. There's only one flag and all that other stuff. If we're talking about real simulation.
Yeah, and she says, I get that, but you're telling them that it's their fault that the United States split the country in two. No, I'm not telling them that it's their fault. I'm just saying MLK laid his life so that people could become integrated. So it's time to integrate the mind. We integrated the bodies and the community, but we're not integrating the mind. And I'm not dismissing that there is racism towards Black folks. That is a problem that I don't think is going to leave this country until many, 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 many generations in the future. This country is not necessarily non-racist. It's actually very racist towards Black people. We've seen it. Come on. Let's just stop being disingenuous. But Black Americans, Latinos, Iranians, Ukrainians, or whoever community is, has to understand, in order for you to prosper in this country, to move forward and to fortify the country, you gotta act as one. Example number one, why Canada is in the state it is and the United States is not in that same state? Because it's a more homogeneous society. Same with Australia, same with New Zealand, same with other countries that are more homogeneous, and people think alike, people behave the same, the country prospers even more because everyone behaves almost the same way. The American life actually has to be, if you're here, you gotta assimilate if you want to prosper. If you want to remain poor, if you want to remain disenfranchised, that is an option. But then you gotta advocate for segregation once again if you want to have the protections that you say you want. That's all I'm stating. That's all I'm stating. Now, I want to go to SKC, Will M, and Kevin with their opinion. So, SKC, what do you think about this whole assimilation thing?
I mean, I think that there only are a few Black people who view themselves as assimilated. I know within my own family, we're American. for ever since I was a kid. But for, I would say, the majority of Black people, they don't view the American constitutional republic as legitimate, and they haven't assimilated, at least not in mine. That's why you'll have all of these various thoughts about Africa and all of these other schisms that pop up from a more quote unquote authentic Black experience. At the end of the day, they just don't want to accept the L. And it's a hard pill to swallow, but you lost.
Yeah.
Africa lost. It is what it is. And all of this white supremacy talk, for the most part, is just an avatar for that anti-assimilation movement. That's my thoughts.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think I couldn't have said it better. It's a resistance to acknowledge the loss. I'm gonna steal that from you, SKC. I swear. No, I'm gonna let Will M and then Kevin, and then we also have the NBD. So Will M, what are your thoughts on this topic? And then Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still kind of figuring out how I see things. I'm fairly young. And a lot of just what I view America as has just been through my own experiences. I guess one thing I would be wondering would be what exactly we mean by assimilation, what sort of actions and what sort of commonalities contribute like assimilation completely. Because, you know, kind of like what you're saying, you know, being Puerto Rican, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I work with a lot of Puerto Ricans, and they do have this sort of, people just kind of have different allegiances, right? And you know, the more if Puerto Rico becomes an official state or more involved with the U.S., I think a lot of Puerto Ricans are going to regret it because they're going to lose, you know, all these international corporations. A lot of things are going to start assimilating them on the island, and you're going to start to lose your identity. And I mean, I feel like it's up to the individual and the communities themselves what they want to define themselves as. I mean, I would consider myself a Christian first and foremost, and that's how I try to base my judgments. And I mean, I just think it's, if like, for instance, Black Americans, I mean, personally, I mean, my low understanding, I feel like they should have the right to have their own country if as a group they decide to do that. Because at the end of the day, it's not just about being heard, but I mean, I feel like it's about the right to self-determine yourself as whatever those people want to define themselves as.
Yeah, I completely agree. And one thing I would say is that with the whole Puerto Rico thing, yeah, it's literally, if we incorporate as an official state, we will lose our Puerto Rican identity. You can't serve two masters in any aspect of life, and that is a fact. And I think, and I get it, people don't want to admit it, but responding to what Panelist said earlier, that Albizu Campos did not stood for that, I want to remind you that Albizu Campos was pro-Yankee at the beginning. It wasn't until after he was drafted for the war that he became anti-Yankee. And even so, Albizu Campos resided in the island. If you're an islander, that's why I said, if you don't want to assimilate here with the Americans, I completely support you, but you got to go back to your people and then live that culture in there, because there's only one America. And that's what I keep saying. If we're here, we got to assimilate. It's going to be harder the closest you are to your immigrant roots. The more you are into second, third, fourth, and fifth generation, it's supposed to get better. And I think many of us have already several generations. Well, not myself, but a lot of people have several generations here. So it's time to assimilate into the Americana. Now, I see that Kevin came back. So, Kevin, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, so I mean, you guys are talking about assimilation as if Black people haven't, you know, made an honest attempt to actually assimilate. Look, we get it. You know, enslavement, 250 plus years, Jim Crow, all of that stuff, right? We get all of that. All Black people wanted coming out of enslavement was just to be left the hell alone to actually do what white people were able to do. What is this thing where Black people got to forget the history? They got to, you know, not talk about it. They got to, you know, stop all the slavery talk and this, that, and the third, and all the Tulsa talk and the cities that were destroyed and everything else. Nobody else had to go through that. So why is it everybody else gets to not have to deal with that, and then Black people are the only ones that have to deal with it, and then we're told to shut up and then assimilate and be quiet and just stop talking about it? It makes no sense.
But
That's not
assimilation,
assimilation. You got to treat everybody the same.
but
You literally got to treat
assimilation,
everybody the same, and that's how you get there. Black people haven't been treated the same the whole time, the 400 plus years presence on the continent. Like, come on, man. What are y'all talking about?
Could I
okay,
interject?
hold on real quick, Kevin. I think you're convoluting a lot of concepts together. Assimilation into the Americana means that you assimilate into the system. It doesn't mean that the American history, because last time I checked, the people that enslaved African Americans and African slaves were American people. That's part of the American country, is woven within the fabric of the country. Nobody's asking African Americans to erase history. As a matter of fact, I advocate for American people and the white counterparts that want to negate that part of history. If you're a true American, you gotta take pride in the fact that at some point this country was more obscured and it has walked towards clarity.
And also, I want to add, I don't think Black Americans were fighting to be left alone. You guys want to fight for integration. Integration.
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely
Yes,
not.
Yes,
but
it
let
was.
me,
You guys integrated.
Not
but
completely.
this is the thing. This is the thing. This is a topic that is always going to come to the minority. Look at how you're called minorities in a country that if you put all the minorities together, we're the majority. You get my point? Like I said, you don't have to assimilate. You don't have to. I'm not saying to anyone, oh, assimilate. What I'm talking about is you have three options: assimilate, go back into segregation, or go into war and do it your way. And everyone will have to assimilate to you. That is something that has to be understood. White people understand that. They understood that because they did it. So now it's our turn to make a decision as all of this group of so-called minorities that are actually the majority. We have to make a decision. Do we want to live in peace and just recognize, hey, let's work with the white people and work under their system and assimilate to their system so that we can win and just let's get this over with? Or we go to war, or we segregate ourselves to our respective countries and you guys segregate yourself, I don't know where, in the South, North, whatever you want, and make that arrangement with the country. Those are your three options.
But then again,
else.
segregation isn't going to be the solution, because let's be honest, what group of people, what country ever won any war isolated? You need allies.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's an option. I'm not saying it's the more viable one. The same with Latinos going back to their own country. It's not the most viable one. We're not going to stop the American empire from doing all the stuff that they do in our countries if we go back. However, it's an option. And it's like I said, why do we have all these things? We have the Hispanic Heritage Month. We have the Latino minority. We have this group, the Puerto Rican flag stamped all over when we're in America. Why? Why do we need all these flags and all these things when we are already here? Are we planning and plotting to?
You know why? Because y'all all the way over there talking that yaka baka laka waka shit. No.
So I want the NBD to address this whole thing. What do you think about what I'm saying?
Hey, good afternoon, Denise. You could just call me Trey.
Okay, Trey. Then nice to meet you. Now, what's your take on this whole topic?
Well, as far as assimilation goes, and FBA or whatever they want to call themselves, ADOS, I don't subscribe to that stuff. The fact is plain and simple, whichever way you look at history, some look at it aboriginally, some, actually play the slave trade game, whichever way you look at it, it's over 400 years. It's a wrap, longer than any other group, besides, the other aboriginals who were here. ADOS folks have been here the longest. It's not even about assimilation at this point. And to my man, Kevin C., Black folks can't get mad at slavery. All those slave owners that were Black, that have monuments named after them now, that have white people freaking doing documentaries because white people live in slave owners' plantations that were Black. It's all just a Crayola crown box game. So at this point, you got half the country, us on the conservative side, that are just, okay, bump the Crayola crown box. We're just American. I've been American for 47 years. And you got the other side of the country, half of the country, living in this identity politics game. I'm this, I'm that. Nah, once you come over here, You sign on the dotted line, you raise your right hand, you say, hey, you know what, especially if you join the military, you'll protect this country against enemies foreign and domestic. You're American. And once you assimilate into being American and work with other Americans, prosperity flows to you. These communities that are just ravaged by, whatever you want to call it, crime, single mother homes, whatever. I guarantee you, identity politics is getting in the way of most of those people prospering.
Yeah, I agree 1,000% with your assessment. We gotta make, and trust me, it pains me because I was born in Puerto Rico and raised till adulthood in Puerto Rico, but I made a choice almost 10 years ago to come here. So it's time to assimilate into the Americana and stop being mad at it. Now I'm gonna go to Rakim, my brother from another mother. What's up, Rakim? What are your thoughts
What's
on
up,
this?
Denise? As far as the assimilation thing goes, I didn't get a chance to hear the earlier conversation, but black people tried to assimilate. What do they think black people was doing when they was marching in the civil rights movement with suits on, getting cracked upside the head with bricks and bottles and different things like that when they was getting snatched off of lunch counters and beat nearly to death? And black people tried to assimilate. That was about pretty much Martin Luther King's whole thing. They were dressing in suits. Look at those black people now, because everybody points to the thugs and different things today. Look at those black people back then when you look at those civil rights marches. Did they look like thugs to you? Did they
No,
look
no.
like
I think it's kind of like what I said earlier. I said Martin Luther King laid his life so that Black Americans could assimilate to the Americana. I just don't know why did it stop and why now Black
well,
Americans want to keep their own
it's
stuff
it's no
segregated from America.
well, the thing why we want to keep ourselves segregated is because we did better in segregation than we ever did. And Martin Luther King also, one of his last quotes before he was assassinated. And just to think, if they can assassinate Martin Luther King, a man that was about peace, a man that was about uh, showing people that I'm a man, we can do this the peaceful route. That should tell you the ideology of America. Um, and also, one of his last quotes before he was assassinated was, "I think I assimilated my people into a burning building, or I
Yeah,
put my people
I've heard that. I walk my people
into it."
to a burning building.
Yeah.
I get that point. My thing is then what is a factual option then if you guys don't want to assimilate into the American culture? Are you planning to go to war? Are you planning to band with other minorities to uh put a different system in place? Are you planning to plea for segregation in what part of the country you guys want to settle in then? Because they can be too it's counterproductive not only for you guys, but for the whole country to have two Americas. What is
Well,
the
see,
plan?
the thing is, Denise, like the whole country don't want to assimilate with Black Americans.
That
There's
is not
people out.
true.
Well, it's quite true to an extent because everyone that comes here look at Black Americans as competition. The Black Americans have been talking about unifying for quite some time, and you have a lot of people that do not want to go up, even when it comes to some certain groups within their own country. They do not want to go up against the system at all. Their whole mindset is to assimilate whatever the system does to them, it does to them. And Black Americans have already been there, done that. We've tried the assimilation thing. We've been trying to assimilate throughout the whole time we've been here in this country. You have a lot of other groups that when something is done to them by the group that's creating all of this chaos and creating all of this dissension, nothing is ever said, nothing is ever done. But when it comes to Black Americans, they look at Black Americans as competition, and they look at Black Americans as somebody they can step over to get a notch up above the totem pole.
But
But
but this is my thing. This is my thing. Like I said at the beginning of the stream, and I was discussing with Radical Latino. America is a monopoly board. You either play or you lose. So my thing is, what is the plan? I know all the things that are happening. I do know that there are roadblocks for Black folks and even Latino folks. That happens to all the so-called minorities. That is a reality. We're not denying that. What we're saying is, What is the plan? Are you planning to stay as sitting ducks? Are you planning to segregate, to go to war, to band with other people and outnumber the whites? What is the plan of
Well, it's
if
40.
if
It's
you
it's
fight?
40. It's 44 million Black Americans in this country. I just can't sit here and say if it's a plan for everybody. But personally, the way I feel about it, I think Black Americans should continue to fight. Mostly at this particular point, we've dealt with so much um, different, different situations from different groups. We just have to primarily focus on ourselves and what we can get, any type of tangibles that we can get for ourselves. And then if anyone else want to come to the table and work with us down the line, then that would be the plan. But as far as anything else, if it comes to assimilation, in my personal opinion, that means let America do whatever it wants to you. So if everybody's going to assimilate, then that means the island of Puerto Rico will have to agree that it's going to be a state. If people going to assimilate, that means they have to accept the fact that in Mexico
The
and
island,
Latin.
but you're adding stuff. You see, this
No,
is
no, no, no,
something.
no. What I'm saying is that this is part of assimilation. That
No,
means that
that's not assimilation because again, Puerto Rico is a colony of the United
Mhm.
States. That means that it was a country that the U.S. decided to exploit. We don't decide if we're a state. If it was up to us, again, if you go to the stats, 54% of the island voted for statehood. So it's not up to us. America has to give us the freedom to become a state. We don't decide
May,
that. We don't
may I
own
ask the brother a
ourselves.
question? May I ask the brother a
Yeah, go
question,
ahead.
please?
Go ahead.
Brother below me. You know, like you mentioned all these roadblocks and all these people against. My question: how come that didn't affect my family or SKC's family?
you're
Just
thinking
your
from
opinion.
hyper individualism, sir.
No, 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 no,
It's a
no. My
lot of
my
things.
family. Why do
Your
you believe
family.
that it didn't affect my family or SKC's family? We're doing great, man. Life is good. I mean, is it Texas? I don't know, but we're doing great. My family, everyone before me, 6 generations have done wonderful. So, I
Okay,
mean,
so are we going to ignore all the other people that are not doing so well?
it's not my problem, bro.
Okay,
I'm
so you thinking
American
from a hyper individualism sense, right? If that's
because it's
not
the
your
United
problem,
States of America.
okay. If you thinking from a hyper individualist situation, if it's not your problem, then why even be involved in the conversations, brother?
Uh,
Because it's a conversation, my
can,
man.
can I ask something? Do you think the dude in the middle? I forgot your name.
Trey,
Trey. What's up, Trey?
what's going on, bro?
Do you think it might be a little off center to look at yourself individualistically instead of as a collective to see how the group is going?
No, there's no group, bro. We're Americans. America is based on rugged individualism.
Yeah.
Um, I am from, well, you could say, man, my dad's from Mississippi. My mom's a West Indian,
Yeah.
but I grew up in Virginia, man. My people are my homies in Virginia. Freaking dudes I grew up with in the hood, the white boys from the trailer park around the way, the Filipino dudes I know. Those are my people.
Yeah.
Those are the cats, I've known since childhood. I don't know no brothers out in LA. I don't know no brothers up in Michigan. My people in Virginia. So if you want to
I
say
think
I
you
have a
should focus on
collective,
Virginia, then,
that
brother.
that's my cut. That is my collective. But all the dudes I know in Virginia, we're all individuals. And if we come together, then we come together as all from the 757. That's it. But this collective of people based on melanin, no, bro, it don't work
So,
like that.
so when those patriots was marching through Virginia, said, you would not replace us. They was part of the 757, right?
Huh?
Huh?
What?
I'm pretty sure you heard what I was saying. When those white racist patriots was marching through Virginia, screaming, "You will not replace us."
The
They
Patriot
was
Front, I
representing
think.
this, yeah, the Patriot Front. They was representing the
No, bro,
757.
those are feds, bro. Those are glowies, man. They're glowing really hard, bro. I've never seen patriots cover their
Facts.
face, but that's a whole different story.
Oh, okay. Uh, I understand. I understand what Trey is saying, but also I understand what Rakim is saying.
I
I was just
understand
gonna, I
both.
was
I
gonna say
understand.
this. I was just
Go
gonna say
ahead.
this really
Go
quick.
ahead, Raquel.
If it was a such thing as hyper individualism, what Black Americans did wouldn't affect this man, and this man wouldn't even feel any need to speak up on it. The reason why he's speaking up on it is because he knows deep down inside that whatever Black Americans do, other groups is going to look at him as the same thing.
I think
Yeah,
that's a
but
little,
this is
I think
but
that's a
this is
little
but
unfair
my thing.
to say
This
that
is
because
my thing. This is my thing, Rakim. This we're seeing a display of two different mindsets within the same community.
yeah,
And that's what
yeah.
I'm saying. I'm like, okay, I get both sides, and both sides are right in their own way. Trey is assimilated into the Americana because the Americana stands for you're responsible for your unit, which is your family, your micro concept, and you're responsible for moving them forward as
Yeah.
generations pass. That's the Americana. That's the Americana system. You're supposed to create capable, highly competent, and highly educated individuals that as soon as they're 18 years old, they can go out there and eat the world and test all of the skills that you put in them against everybody else. That's the
Yeah,
Americana.
with the way
There
that
is
with the
but
way this
no,
economy is
let me
going, Denise,
but let
it's
me
no more
finish.
moving out at 18.
But let
That's
me
The
true.
no not
That
Americana
moving.
is
that
I
once
true.
didn't say
was is
I didn't
gone.
say move out. I didn't say move out. I said test your skills. That's what I said. You can do that at home if you want to. You adapt. My thing is your mindset is more of the collective. The collective functions as one unit and solves all the problems of that unit. Now the collective tends to move slower.
But you got to
And that's
understand, Denise, you have to understand that majority of people, regardless of what ethnicity or race that they're in, they're going to look at themselves as a collective unit instead of
yeah, Latinos
individual.
do the same thing.
Yeah. So
Asians do the same thing. That's
I
what I'm
disagree
saying.
on that.
If
I
I could
disagree
add
on
in
that.
one thing real quick,
Go ahead. My bad,
Trey,
SKC.
just because I I'm right there with you, but um, see, there's a fallacy in all of this, and it's one of the reasons why I was asking you that question before, radical about the family structure. A lot of people within the black community, as it were, they want to play this collective, we're all in together now, make it more better now game. But if you really believe that, then family structure would be intact. That would you cannot move as a collective with broken families.
I agree. I agree.
Not
that's
We
only
also
true.
that,
do.
I
I'm
agree
gonna
too.
add,
I
I'm
agree
gonna
too.
But
add, I'm gonna
I'm
add
gonna explain why
no, but
down the line. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
let you
add
finish.
something else to SK's
I think
what
he knows why.
SKC said. When you add this concept, and I'm going to add some from the Latino community, some from the African American community. When you add this whole burden of a whole community on the backs of a single man or a single unit that's supposed to be taking care of his unit, you end up with martyrs like Pedro Albizu Campos. What happened to his children, his wife, after he got killed for the people of Puerto Rico? What happened to Filiberto Ojeda and his family and his unit when he got killed as the patriarch for the people of Puerto Rico? What happened to the family of Malcolm X when he laid his life for the African American community? What happened to the family of Fred Hampton and his children that got unprotected after that because he got killed? What happened to the kids of Martin Luther King? I can continue the list.
Well, here's the thing, Denise. Those okay, my bad.
Let me finish real quick. You can decide. Both mindsets have honor and values. Both are right. I'm not saying no one is wrong here. What I'm saying is you're going to get different results, and you got to make a decision. Which results are you after?
Well, I was just gonna say in response to what you said, I don't know about the Puerto Rican gentleman you mentioned, but I do know if we go back to the 60s and you look at Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, JFK, and all their speeches leading up to their death, they were all preaching unity and peace amongst all shades, and therefore being American. And they were, and I just my hypothesis is that they were all killed for that.
Yeah, because and what happened, and that's the thing. The Americana abandoned these families and their descendants after, because we know even the JFK kids did not have a good ending. We know this. We know that didn't have a good
I just
ending.
wanted
We've
to say
seen it.
something really quickly.
Go
I just
ahead,
wanted to
Rakim.
say something. When it comes to, like he said, his family's doing great. Both of these brothers say their family's doing great. That's cool, and that's understandable. I'm focused on me and my family as well. But if I raise my family, or if I raise up my nieces and nephews, and my nieces and nephews go out here and they don't have anybody else to work with, and they're at the mercies of other groups that think less to them. See, we can play this game about being conservative, and I lean more conservative myself. But we can play this game like being conservative, and people don't see race and color and all of this other stuff. A lot of people don't see race and color as long as they have the resources and the money, and they're above you. We know this. The same brother that say he's conservative when Barack Obama, and I'm not a fan of Barack Obama, but when he got elected and all of those different propaganda that was floating through conservative mailboxes of him with his face like a monkey and 40-ounce bottles of beer and fried chicken on a food stamp card was circling around. These are the same people that say that they don't see color. I'd be a damn fool to think that a lot of people don't see it, and I'm in a system that's created by this. I can be conservative, and we can agree on certain different ideals, but underneath the surface, I know what's going on, and I know how a lot of these people feel, and these people are only out for their own self-interest. And if they can utilize me for a certain reason, then they will. If not, I will be left in the wind, and that's just it.
Okay,
If
so
I
brother,
could
you
pose one
described
question.
real quick, SKC. Brother, you describe yourself as a patriarch of your family. Seeing that your niece and your nephew, they don't have a father to influence them, you said now you're that patriarch. So I would hope that you show them that, okay, the mistakes that made by their fathers, okay, nephew, you won't go out and do that. You will have a family. You will meet a woman who shares your similar values, and you will build a family. And to your niece, you know what? You'll find a man, traditional, and do the same thing. And then get with a community of other people of like ideology. This whole getting together based on like shades of melanin. So therefore, okay, you take the criminals, you take the crackheads, you take the meth heads, all because they share the same melanin, versus, okay, let me get with people of like ideology, build communities, build neighborhoods, build businesses, get thriving schools. I don't see what's the problem with that?
That's not what he's talking about. I think he
Go
reviewed
ahead,
what you're
Brad.
saying.
I see what you're saying. You're pretty much saying let's cut the fat from what's holding us back in each community and start building it up, right?
Yeah, black people
Yeah,
are
but
already doing it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
independent of skin color, it's not necessary. We have the examples down here in Texas. It works all over Texas. Are we just the model state?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm listening. You mind if I first of all, Denise, can you put your Cash App on the screen? I was trying to find it.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Put it on the scroll or something. And then look, Trey, I agree with you. SKC, I agree with you guys. Hey, I'm doing fine with my family too. I mean, my kids are doing fine, all that other stuff. All I know is if I say or do the wrong thing as a black man in America, I'll let you get in tomorrow. The way the system is set up, it could literally be taken away.
That's as a man, bro.
If I cross the wrong people, if I say or do the wrong thing, or if I even try to step up and actually empower myself or my family or the collective in any way, in a Martin Luther King type way or Malcolm X type way, or even a real, not the fake Black Lives Matter organization, but I'm talking about like a real black grassroots type of way, I'm dead. That's the
if you could slow that down.
Okay, one at a time.
If you could just slow that down for just a moment, Kevin C, because sometimes there's a lot of platitudes that are stated, like, if I try to uplift my family or people, what do you mean by that?
Well, here's what I do know. Black people as a collective are going to be broke by 2053. That's the date on the wall. Now, you're going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Rakim's fine.
Is that a fact?
Trey's fine.
Yeah, that's a fact.
And I got that you don't care about that. But what now? My family. I'm setting my family up. My black family, my immediate family up to be fine. I can't adjust or deal with everybody else. But I'm telling you, at the end of the day, as a collective, if things don't go the way it's supposed to go, and black people aren't left alone to actually do what they're supposed to do and live as citizens, free and without impediment in any way, then all of that stuff you got, all that bragging you're doing about what you got, what your family was able to do, that shit can be taken away in less than a few years.
You mean a nigga moment, right? We're gonna have a nigga moment. Is that what you're speaking of? I just want to just flush that out real quick, SKC. I've been hearing
the
that.
other part of that too is I do agree what you guys are saying as far as creating families. That actually is an impediment.
The same thing here. I agree as well.
So there's no issue with that.
Okay, so what we call go ahead, SKC. My bad.
I can't go with 2053. You guys are gonna be broke.
That's the
not you guys. Not there is no you guys.
Because of the
I'm sorry. Kevin said Black American communities are gonna be broke.
There is no you guys.
I'm not saying that. Economists are saying that.
Okay.
And black people are on track to actually be broke by 2053.
Look,
you think homeless is a problem now? Wait until 2053.
I don't want to derail it. I'm sorry.
look, we're gonna go back. It is true, right? Because of automation, the jobs that majority of people for Latinos is 2054. So one thing I would say is, and some people say 2060, but I think it's gonna come sooner. Now, my thing is, again, we can try, and the reason why we're touching this topic for the people that are like, oh, like I don't like this conversation and blah blah blah. Look, the reason why we're having this conversation is because according to what we heard from Nury Martinez and the council members of the city of LA, we're talking about playing the chessboard that this country is, and we gotta assimilate. I've talked to Latinos about this. Many hate the concept of the word of assimilation, and that's how we got here. Because I think it was Mr. Kevin that said that Black people were assimilated already. However, it's like I said, then why is that Black folks are segregated from the Americana and the whole concept of America? And there's even a Black
We're
community.
not we're not separate. We're not segregated by choice, Denise.
No, it's by choice, Rakim, because look at the different mindsets of three different Black people out here.
Denise.
And no, hold on. We're segregated. You're segregated from the Americana. I'm not talking about the racial issues in the country. And I think people don't understand that the culture of the country is not racism. We're not talking about that. The system and the culture of the country, the financial system itself, it's part of the Americana. Capitalism, it's basically the bed where the American culture rests on. So if you don't want to participate on that, you want to segregate yourself, and that's a voluntary choice. That's what I'm talking about.
No, finances is the most important thing. Black people have been trying to participate in finances for God knows how long. We have been shut out. We have been definitely been kicked out. It's been so many different.
Then if that's the case, if that's the case, why there's 3.2 Black Americans that are millionaires today in America?
Yeah, okay,
46 million?
So okay, let's flesh that out now. It's especially since it's 2022. Now, all four of us, quote unquote brothers up here that are on the panel, me, myself, Rakim, Kevin, and SKC, we can all go on. If we all had an 800 credit score without showing any identity of being Black, African American, Negro, whatever you want to call it, we could all get approved for loans sight unseen, mortgages sight unseen, just based on a credit score and a great credit profile, job history, whatever, money in the bank, without anyone seeing your face. If you have, somewhere in a money market account, 250,000, banks will reach out to you and offer you money. So please, brother, tell me how we're excluded. I think it's class.
Not only that, look, in the Hispanic community and in other communities and even Asian communities, when people get paid, that dollar before it leaves the community has to bounce at least 16 times. Black people, it's only 6 hours and it's out of their community. So why we want to say these things, but we don't want to participate? And I say this to Latinos too. Why we don't want to keep money into our stuff? Why we want to say these things, but we don't want to invest in our own people so that we all make it into the Americana?
Because we're too busy talking that rakabakakaka shit.
I mean, you need to trademark that thing.
Wepa.
I'm gonna step out real quick, but shout out to everybody coming in and voicing your opinions, but I'm gonna step out. Thank you very much, Denise, for coming in.
Thank you very
Peace out, hermano.
So one last question that I'm gonna have for you guys before I start wrapping up, because I don't go over 2 hours and a half. Do you guys think personally, Nuri Martinez and these council members that are doing this blatant comments that have shocked the people of LA, do you guys think this was a political move? Do you guys think that they were actually racist, they should have been kicked out? Do you guys think that this was just a power move from other groups, and why? I'm gonna start with SKC, then I will go with Will, then Rakim, Mr. Kevin, and then Trey. So SKC, you have the floor right now.
Yeah, I'll say I'll lean towards it just being a power move. As a whole, black people like to play the race card on a lot of issues. It's almost like it's almost like black people have become super soft when it comes to little tiny insults while having a music industry that focuses on tearing each other down. On I mean, there's battle rap where people talk and cloud each other, and I mean, there's even a culture of what they call capping and bussing and playing the dozens on each other. But let someone else say something, and it's boo hoo, they're racist. I knew that they were against us, while they're at the same time saying all of the most vile and degrading and racial things against every other group here in America at any given time. They've even done that so much to the soul of redefining what racism even means.
Yes, I
So
saw that earlier when there was a person that said that black people can be bigoted but not racist because they don't have the power to do anything to anybody. But you
yeah, it's
kind of
such
do.
a
You can
ridiculous statement.
you can
It's
end
such
someone's life, and
right.
it can.
Yeah, if
That's
you
a
do that, you're
power.
gonna get that's a crime, and you get punished. I don't. That's not racism. That's
No,
just a
and no,
crime.
no, that's
There's nothing
racism.
that Black Americans have done to desecrate a whole community or country.
No, you don't have to
It's
desecrate.
nothing.
You don't have to desecrate a whole
We
community.
haven't put anything in effect to force somebody to
If
migrate to another country.
if,
We
if a,
haven't put anything in effect. We haven't poisoned nobody. We haven't dropped bombs on people. We haven't poisoned people's water supplies. We haven't done any of that.
Look,
here's the reason why.
Rakim, but hold on, SKC. I mentioned it again. Barack Obama ran out of bombs and bombarded brown people in Syria. Barack Obama deported more Latinos than any president in American history.
That wasn't on the behalf of black people.
No, Rakim, again, that is your collective, and that is the problem that I have with people. You want only the people that do good, and I get it. It sucks that some people in our collectives do shitty shit. Trust me, I am ashamed of Nuri and these Latinos doing this stuff at the council. It's shameful, but we gotta take the L's. We got to.
I mean, because I'm gonna just say this: when have you ever seen a picture of black people surrounding somebody hanging from a noose, laughing while eating at a picnic?
No, that's not.
You never seen it. You never.
I saw them
I've seen
laughing,
similar
dressed up.
things.
I seen them on a train last week, dressed up in green suits, beating three Latina girls on a train station in New York City.
It happens in Africa every day. What are you talking about?
Not only that.
You're talking about tribal warfare that's been going on for thousands of years.
I'm talking about in New York City.
In the continent. I'm
Okay,
talking to the other brother. I'm not talking to you.
Let's just keep it in America, guys. What I'm trying to say is let's just keep it home. What I'm trying to say is this whole concept of my community doesn't do no good and it's angelical and it's innocent, it's disingenuous. And people often don't take you seriously because you don't try to own the good and the bad. And it's like if you have a plot of land, you gotta own the good things that happen on that plot.
We own the good and the bad. We the ones that popularize the term Pookies and Ray Rays. We own our bad. We always. It's other groups that don't never own their bad. You never hear them talk about their criminal element at all. It's all about what the blacks are doing. What the blacks are doing. Never talk about any of the things that's going on in these other communities. But I digress. Go ahead.
Hold on, guys. Hold on. Right now, I'm telling you, when you're telling me, I was making a comment about what somebody commented that black people cannot be racist. You cannot tell me that you are owning what Barack Obama did. That was a black president that represented the African American community. So yes, you guys, again, I don't care on behalf of who. I said your community did that to other communities. It is what it is, and you gotta accept it. It's not on behalf of anything because at the end of the day, we're talking about America. So again, Barack Obama did do those things and he belongs to your collective. If we're going to talk about, because again, we can say he's American and we just can blame it on the country, but you guys are the ones that are fighting to keep it in a collective. If we're going to talk about collectives, collectively, you guys are just as fault as much as any other black American for what Obama did. You see the point that we're trying to make?
Yeah,
I
I
can
don't
see how you
agree
could
with
Exactly.
that at all.
rationalize that.
Exactly.
I
And
don't.
I'll
I'm
just
trying to
end.
figure
I'll
out how
just
him
end my
bombing the hell out
point.
of Syria
Now,
helped Black
now
Americans.
let's SKC finish his final thoughts, and then we'll move to Will, Rakim, Kevin, and Trey. Go ahead, SKC. Two more minutes, and then we'll move to Will.
Yeah. I mean, exactly what you were saying so far as the collective and then the individual. That is the game that Black America likes to play. It is what it is. Whenever there's something bad, oh, that's just this person. Whenever it's something good, oh, that's us. Black people voted for Barack Obama at a 90 plus clip. That was us.
Yeah,
So
well,
accept
goddamn, we had
so
30, 40 other
Rakim,
presidents that
Rakim,
was
can I
white
finish my
before
can
point?
we not,
Can I finish my point?
Rakim, let him finish
Yeah,
his point. We're gonna go
yeah.
one at a time. Let's not interrupt people. Let's just let them one at a time. You'll get your turn. Go ahead, SK.
So it's like just accept the good with the bad. The same thing with when it comes to history in general. You'll hear all this stuff about, oh man, 400 years of slavery and such and blah blah blah. For people, I know Trey, for people that want to go with the African slave trade, and I'm fine with that. That's cool. But then also accept that it was the Africans that sold you. It was called a trade for a reason. They got goods and services for it. So when you throw in all this stuff about reparations and so forth, then they should be implicated as well. It's just like people just want to play this duplicity as if other people are just stupid and can't get what you're trying to do. You're trying to get all of the goods of America while not being productive citizens to be a part of the system. And then with that, I'll get out.
Okay, thank you very
Peace,
much,
bro.
SKC. Thank you very much, and I hope you come back. I'm gonna move you backstage now. Will M, what are your thoughts on your final thoughts on this topic and the question that I asked the panel?
If you don't mind, what was kind of the specific question?
I said, do you guys think that this whole issue with Nury Martinez and the Hispanics of the council of the city of LA was a power move? Do you think they actually did it because they're racist? Do you guys think that this was just to gain more traction, a targeted attack from other groups? What are your thoughts on that?
I think that's a difficult question. I mean, I kind of tend towards being skeptic, so I mean, I definitely think that's a good question, like whether or not they intended for this to be released, because California, especially Southern California, is so Hispanic at this point. I think that they really do have the capability to, if they decide to, you know, whatever you want to define, take over, or like they want to have more power, possibly not be confined by the American system, then I think they're, at this point, I think they're very capable of doing that. And I think there's a lot of international players like Israel. I'm not like, you know, a lot of people get offended if you say that, but that have dual commitments, dual allegiances, and the way that they talk about America is not talking about it as if it's their home. It's just kind of like you're saying, like it's a chessboard, and that was never the intention of the people who founded this country in certain words. And I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that nobody, I mean, the things that we're saying are concepts that just kind of popped up. They were never necessarily the intentions from the beginning. And I mean, I think that maybe, in my opinion, I think it was just a hot mic. Like, I think she probably didn't mean for it to get released, but other people are going to use that as to test the waters and see what they can get away with, what people in different groups are feeling at the moment, and how they can kind of manipulate those people to get what they want, whether it's an individual or somebody with like an ulterior motive. What I'm saying, like, I mean, there's no reason for me to say anything that I'm saying to be disrespectful. Obviously, like, there's nothing to gain. I really don't think that multiculturalism and this sort of like complete assimilation to this level is going to work. I think America is unfixable in the way that it's the system that's currently structured. And I mean, I think that there's so many variables. A lot of people think that it's still like white versus brown versus black. We're all these different groups. I mean, I'm not Italian, you know what I mean? I see just as many cultural differences with an Italian person as I do with a country black person that I grew up with. So, I mean, like, I don't know. I just think that this is too complicated to fix. The variable of time is of the essence, and we don't have the time to keep everything working compete against China, compete against India, compete against these other countries and allegiances, and at the same time fix the enormous mess that we have culturally. I don't think it's going to happen. I think the cartels in Mexico and the other countries, they are the true government. They're the ones that are going to be running shit. Because at the end of the day, I mean, you can say patriarchy, this or that. I mean, force is what most of the world respects. America was the first country to really, England and white people were the first people to really push at a large basis anti-slavery, you know, and Christian ideas were mainly Europe. So, I mean, I don't, and I mean, you can see how most people's opinion of or white people, I mean, and that's not to be hateful, but I mean, in my experience, I mean, I don't think it's fixable. I mean, I think it's probably the sooner that people separate, the safer everybody's going to be. That's my opinion.
No problem. Thank you very much, Will. Thank you for your opinion. I'm going to put you back.
I will.
Now we're going to have Kevin, then Trey, and we're going to end with Rakim. So, Kevin, what is your answer? Is Nuri Martinez and the council members, were they doing this because they were racist? Were they doing this because it's a power move? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah. So, first of all, thanks for having me up. I'd like for hopefully for Kim and SKC and Trey would all, kind of hang out after you end the transmission. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's a bit of both. And, two things can be true at the same time. They can be racist and they can have a power move. My thing is, why weren't any black people in the room in the first place? Why weren't the white people there represented? It should have been, you got all these different populations in that city. So just have all the different representatives there of the actual populations and the people who represent their constituents. It would make sense that the black, leaders would represent black people, Latinos represent the Latinos, and then the white folks there, and whoever else is there. You have 4 Hispanics all in a room, basically plotting and planning and making a power move to actually, leave black people out of whatever benefits that they were distributing. That's what was going on. So yeah, it was a race thing and a power move. Now, I don't really care if anybody's racist. I don't give a flip. It doesn't matter. What matters is, can you do anything and make any decisions that's going to harm me? That's what matters to me. If you don't like me, I don't really give a flip. That doesn't matter at all. It's, can you put policies in place? Can you make decisions that's going to harm me in some way? And if you're black out there in LA, that's what they were doing. So it's a power move. And, you could argue that it's racist as well. Thanks for letting me up. I'd like to talk to those all 4 gentlemen once you go ahead and shut down. And I think it'd be an interesting conversation. But, good topic. Sure. And but at least, you're willing to have the discussion. A lot of people are running away from it. So I appreciate you. Yeah.
No
Denise,
problem.
You're always good for that. And I appreciate you.
No
and you're
problem.
honest and sincere. So I love what you do. Okay.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. I'm going to put you backstage. SKC and Will M, don't go anywhere. If you guys want to join the backstage talk that we always do after the show, if SKC, if you want to come back up, let me know. I'll put the link in the chat. Now, I'm going to have Rakim and then Trey. Rakim, final thoughts. Do you think Nuri Martinez and the Latino Council members did this as a power move, as a racist move? What are your thoughts on it?
Absolutely, it was both, but it's pretty much the same as what Kevin C said. I don't care. I'm pretty sure people will call you the N-word, call you a monkey or whatever behind your back and everything. That's not my concern. My concern is if it's actually things that can affect me, that can be devastating to my family, or just different laws that's put in place that can hinder me from different resources. For the brother Trey D or Trey NBD and SKC. I get what you're saying as far as, to a certain extent, individualism. I operate as an individual too, but I never forget what I am. I never forget what group that I'm a part of. And in my personal opinion, you can't run from being black, bro. You can't escape it. No matter how much your friends that you grew up with tell you you're an individual and different things like that. We all seen people. We all seen pretty much every example of people not operating as individuals when they feel threatened and when their resources feel threatened. So that's pretty much all I got to say. Once again, great stream, Denise, and that's all I got to say.
Thank you very much, Rakim. I'm going to put you backstage. Don't go anywhere. Now, Trey, was Nuri Martinez and the other Latinos being racist? Were they doing a power move? What are your thoughts on it? What's your take?
From my opinion is this: they're just biased with the, and I know this is going to hurt some feelings, but with the way that, FBA ADOS crowd has been out of control in this country as a collective, every major left-leaning city has an out of control population of young black boys and young black girls and some adults that are causing havoc. I mean, we can just go on any news station, Chicago, Little Rock, Baltimore, St. Louis, you pick a city, havoc is being caused. And you know what? People are just fed up with it. And sometimes they express those emotions at the wrong time. I do it myself. I'm sick of it myself. It's one of the reasons I moved to San Antonio and got up out of Houston. I was sick of it. So no, I don't see it as a move. I just see it as them being biased. And it affects me not, because here's the deal. It only affects those in the collective if they live by emotion. You know, it's 2022. You know, good old LBJ, you know, signed those civil rights bills in the act in the 1960s. Is anybody that tries to discriminate based off of, you know, sexual orientation, skin color, gender in 2022, the other side has a big fat paycheck waiting for them, and that person is going to get canceled. That's how things work in 2022. So no, I don't want to hear black folks complaining about, oh man, you know, they're going to legislate anything to hurt. No, they're not. The only legislation that they might put into play will hurt people that take advantage of the system. You know, poor people who don't want to rise up from welfare to take advantage of the system, things of that nature. People that are, you know, you might say, you know, not all illegals are bad, but illegals that are coming over here taking advantage of the system. It will hurt those people. But if you play the game, play the American game, play the money game, play the capitalist game, you will win in this country. And I apologize earlier for dropping the N-bomb. I should have said ninja moment, because wherever, you know, myself, SKC go, we keep hearing this, and one of these days you're going to have your ninja moment. It's been 47 years. It's not happening. You know, I live in a neighborhood with 5 cops as my neighbors, and man, it's a, hey, what's going on, buddy? Every time I pass by them. It's not going to happen. And as far as this collective of being outraged, my wife's Dominican. She's not outraged. She's not, has nothing to do with those, you know, folks of a Chicano heritage in LA. She's Dominican. It doesn't affect her in the least. She's looking at it like, okay, so what?
Yeah,
she's
absolutely.
like me, you know, she's my wife, and she's an American now. As much as, you know, her passport says she was born in Santo Domingo, you couldn't tell, because first thing out of her mouth is, I am American. That's it, point blank. Her dad came over here in the United States Army, and that's how, you know, all her family came over here. And at that point, she is proud to be American because it allowed her entire family to come over here. So end of story with all this nonsense, you know, but y'all hang around.
No problem. Thank you very much, Will. I mean, Trey, I'm sorry. I was reading the Will's devices are not connected. Thank you very much, Trey. I'm going to put you backstage. Don't go anywhere. Guys, you've seen, like me and Radical said at the beginning, this was going to be a controversial topic. There's so many things that revolve around it, and there's not a lot of time for us to discuss it here. But I will say that I agree. It was both a racial and a power move that was obviously race was used as a power move. And also it shows that the notion that we all know, some people, you know, most people in the world doesn't like certain races of people for whatever the reason that might be. Now, in my opinion is, and something I want to leave people with, it's time for us, and I know it's going to burn. It's going to burn. And like many people always say to me, and you got to assimilate. And I get that you're going to be like, but we got to assimilate, people. It's something that I'm going to keep pushing forward. 2023 new season starts October 23rd. It's a Sunday. Make sure you tune in, you hit that bell for notifications so that you can come in and listen to. We're going to talk about the structures of America because, for example, in my quote unquote collective, we don't know this country enough for us to make intelligent decisions and join the Americana. We're going to talk about it. We're going to dissect this part by part so that people become more informed. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. This was an amazing stream. Thank you, Radical Latino, for also joining me in this discussion. I'm going to link his channel below in the description box. So make sure you go and give him a visit and also subscribe to his channel. His channel is also about discussing not only Latino issues, but mostly Black and Brown unity. So if you're interested in those topics, make sure to go to Radical Latino and also subscribe to his channel. Thank you guys for letting me into your devices and your homes. Thank you so much. This has been another episode of Latin Explaining with Denise. See you guys on the next one.